Hello everybody, how you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano and this is Marketing Moves. Okay? New title, new cover art. We're going to infinity and beyond with this, okay? This is gonna be the title from now until forever. The official title is Online Marketing Moves with Tony Rizzano, but we'll just call it Marketing Moves. Because you know it, mostly it's online. But as you well know, just because you're online doesn't mean you have to be you don't have to make marketing moves offline, okay? And I hope you enjoy the new title. You hear that forever and ever. Now it's time to crank it up. Now it's time to get guests. It's time to turn this into a full-fledged operation, and I'll tell you a little secret. I remember at first I was like, do I want my face? Do I want to be out there like that? Because when you become a public figure, which is, I guess, what I'm turning into. But when you become a public figure, as you well know, no matter what good you do, no matter what nice things, great things you do, there will be people that won't like you. And it's just how it is, you know what I mean? It's not like it's you could do everything right and people still will be like, oh nah, I don't like it. He's gotta be fake. He's got to be a something. So whenever you decide, hey, I want to get full-fledged into this and I want to put myself out there, just remember, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, people will analyze, people will scrutinize, people won't like you. Like when you start to get successful, the more successful you get, it's gonna be more people like, I don't like him. I don't like this. I don't like that. Because I remember for a while there when I was first doing the podcast, I don't know why, but I would see these YouTube videos and people was having these. It was like the same few people and they was getting a pretty good following, but a lot of the videos was just negative and about all this con men in on the online marketing or online, and I was like, yeah, these con men, but it's like, I mean, and I'm like, what are you gonna do, like these guys obviously, like some people, of course, some people are kind of phony charlatans and everything like that, but not everybody. So it's like, come on, am I supposed to believe everybody that's online, is a crook? And I'm thinking to myself at the time, I'm watching these videos and I'm like, well, I know I'm not like that. So I just want to help people. Of course, I mean, let's not lie. We are all, well, of course, we starting a business because we want to work for ourselves. And of course, as you well know, a job is nice, but if you want to make unless you're the CEO of Coke, which I am not, you know what I mean? Unless you have one of those kind of jobs, for me, I knew that I like truck driving, but for me, it's about being at home with my wife on a regular basis, not just going back and forth to work, but being home with her on a regular basis, because we want to do a lot more traveling than what we've been doing. And in order for me to do that, then I need to work for myself, because no job is going to say, hey guy, go ahead and take off for 2 months. We'll see you later, So for me, this is where I want to be in the online space. So I can't sit there and watch videos and judge people and be like, yeah, they're a crook. Because if the more negative stuff you watch, the more negativity you get in you, and you don't want that. So, I stopped watching those videos. I stopped watching 99% of those videos. I mean, I every now and then I look and I chuckle. I don't think about it. I separate because it's entertainment. It's entertainment too. So I look at it from an entertainment perspective. I go ha 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 ha. That's funny, and then I keep it moving. So that's another thing. When you start in your own thing, you want to remove a lot of the negativity. You want to just. I'm not saying that bad things ain't gonna happen. I mean, of course we all know that, but anybody negative, anybody doubting you, anybody, you just want to sort of separate yourselves from that. You tell them thanks, I appreciate you, but I gotta move forward. I gotta move on. It's amazing how many, like, if you ever sit back and think about your life, it's amazing how many people that you used to know, and then once you get a certain age, because I'm 41, and now it's a long time ago that I was in high school. I remember I had a best friend in high school. We don't even talk anymore at this point. And if you would have told me 10 years ago, even if you would have told me 10 years ago when I was 31, if you would have told me, hey, you and this guy, and 10 years from now, you won't say much at all, he won't be at your wedding, I'd have said, you got to be kidding me. And come to find out, he wasn't at the wedding. I remember last time I saw him, he told me, he was like, I'm mad, man, I wasn't at the wedding. I was like, I don't hear from you, man. I'm like, the only time I hear from you is when you want something, when you need something. So what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to think? Life moves forward, My wife don't know you like that. Not enough to be invited to the wedding. Not enough to put you, directly in the wedding. Like, that'd be crazy. But, yeah. So, whenever you put yourself out there for public consumption, there will be somebody that won't like you, and it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I haven't had that happen yet. I looked at my and I was changing the thing. I just wanted to make sure that it was on the different streams, and I looked and I was like, oh look, I got a 5-star rating. So I appreciate the 5-star rating. If we can get more of those, I would greatly appreciate it. Plus, I figured now that I got my ugly mug out there on the cover and all that good stuff, we'll pick up more and more viewers, because let's be honest with each other, I like the affiliate party. That wasn't a bad title at all, but the picture was terrible. The picture was garbage. So, but here we are now, moving forward, moving on. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you for the first 126 episodes of the world famous Universally Loved Affiliate Party podcast. Rest in peace, Affiliate Party podcast. Nah, but we'll continue we'll continue on. We'll make this even better. When I go home, I got some equipment. I gotta set up my podcast equipment for at home. And see how that goes. And get this whole audio thing down pat. But yeah, when you become a public figure, just remember, there'll be people that love you, there are people that won't like you. And matter of fact, honestly, what you don't want to be in the middle. I know we talked about this before, but you don't want to be. I told you about the talk show host, right? Yeah, I told you about that. You don't want to be Jerry Springer before he discovered the whole cat fight situation. Because Jerry Springer was Oprah-like, and he got a few he got a few he got a few ratings, but it wasn't as good as it could be. He wasn't at the top of his game, and that is sort of, you know, what you are looking for. You want people to love you, or them to, you know, I'm not saying hate you, but you want people to have a thought about you. You don't want to be like, man, you don't want people to be like, eh. It's like, I told you, I listened to Howard Stern when I was 2006 to 2009. I listened to a lot of Howard Stern. I mean, I still listen to it every now and then, but, you know, we're kind of busy now. But then it was like people that didn't like him would listen just to see what he had to say. People that loved him listen because, well, we love the guy, you know. It wasn't a like, I can take him and leave him. It was, no, you either really like this guy or you really can't stand this guy. So, you know, people like him, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, I'm not saying you have to be like that, but you definitely want to move the needle. You definitely want people to be like, yes, I'll follow this guy. I'll buy a t-shirt. I'll do this, I'll do that. Like I told you yesterday, you know, you want to position yourself, you know, to be a leader. And I'm not saying that you have to do it. I'm not saying that force yourself to do it, but the more you are a expert in a field of something, the more times people will come to you. You know, the more you will get, the more the people will come to you more. The people will want to interview you more, and it helps you. It helps your brand. It helps the mission that you're on. It helps the, you know, the vision that you're trying to, you know, tell other people about. So this is definitely, because like now that I've changed I'm gonna write a story on Medium, of course, to get more listenership, of course. But I'm also going to talk about how to start a podcast from scratch, you know, because I have started a podcast from absolutely nothing. And I told you. I started July the 15th. I didn't tell my wife until September the 29th. And of course she was pissed. So from July to September, that's what, 2 months? I didn't tell anybody I knew, not a friend, not a family member, for 2 months that I had a podcast. And we have still been able to get, you know, over 1,000 downloads. We have an established audience. You know, every day people download the podcast. So for a podcast to go from, you know, and I'm not a celebrity. I'm not and to my mama, I'm a big time somebody. But to the world, you know, of course, the world doesn't know me. So to go from zero to, you know, that is a great thing. So of course now, and whenever this happens to you, whenever you get an accomplishment, whenever you get a feat done, you should write about it. You should talk about it. You know why? Because it helps. It establishes you more and more, and you can take that and be like, yeah, I've written an article or wrote a PDF. Because I even thought about, I was like, I should write a book, you know, or I should write like a little mini book about how to turn a podcast into a money making, you know, how to go from an idea to a podcast to now, you know, we're generating some money, you know what I mean? Like, you have to take every little thing that you do, and you have to make it, because this is your world, the world that you are in. So you want to take everything that you do and you want to spin it and turn it into something, you know, a article, a book, a whatever, you know what I mean? So keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. Everything you accomplish, even if you get like, say 1 week, say 1 week you're an affiliate for a program and you get 50 people in, you know? I mean, that's an article. How to get 50 people into your affiliate program. You know, boom. You write the article. And you just keep notes about everything that you did, everything you do, and then you turn it into a story, or you pay somebody to write the story for you. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. This is how you get things going. You know? Because I told you, I listened to this Zig Ziglar book. Zig has told the same story about him being a fella from Mississippi. He done told that tale 10 times in the whole time I listened to that book. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's like, that's his story. And this is where you get the original, ideas from. You get them from yourself, you know what I mean? Like, that's nobody's story but him. He's like, I'm just a little guy from Yazoo City, Mississippi. And, I couldn't sell no cookware for 2.5 years. I was struggling. And the guy told me I could be champion. And that changed my life. And that's the crux of his story. And it's like, why not tell that story? What's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that. That's his story, I'm gonna tell the story. And at first I thought, oh, that's gonna get old. But you know what? Hell no, it's not gonna get old. If this is my story, I was a truck driver for 15 years, and then one day I decided I'm gonna create a business online, and here I am. If that's part of the story, it is what it is. And if people pay me to talk about that story, it is what it is, okay? So whatever your story, take that, use it, and run with it, man, Take it, keep using it, right? That's why I say every day, write down ideas, write down stories. If you think about stories from your past, think about stories today. You talking to somebody, man, write all that stuff down, because you can, before you know it, you can be on stage talking, because, hey, listen, at first, I'm telling you, I had a bad image of myself or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I thought, who wants to listen to me? But, the more I thought about it over especially during this podcast, the more I thought about it, the more talking I've done, the more, listening I've done to audio books and everything like that. You have to, sometimes you might think, who wants to listen to me? But I'm telling you, right now, from me to you, somebody, if you have a story, we all have a story. And if you know because I know, listen, my story can help you out, your story can help me out, your story can help out the next person and the next person. So why not monetize that, And it's not about, oh, I'm getting money. It's about, hey, you're helping them out, and they're helping you out because you're getting paid to help out people, And the more people you help, the more money will come in, It's not about, oh, I need to make a buck. I'm trying to make a buck out of these people. No. You have a story to share with people. People love stories. People love underdogs. People love, stories about people going from, 0 to 100. People like those stories, So don't think, oh, I don't have anything to say or whatever, Just, take your story, remember it. If you got to, tell it 5,000 times. I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to you, I'm telling you, I'm sitting there and, I've listened to all kinds of people, like another guy, Les Brown. If you ever listen to Les Brown, and Les Brown has said the same story over and over, and it's nothing wrong with that. He's like, Mrs. Mamie's baby boy, I started off in Miami, and I didn't know what I was going to do with myself, and and people like it, so, always share your story, People like to be inspired. People like inspiration. Nothing wrong with that. And I know this podcast, we really haven't hit on a main subject, but I think the main thing is sort of like yesterday. Just put yourself out there, go for it, position yourself. If something good happens to you, like now, like. The story of this podcast is going to definitely be in the repertoire that I use. Like today, I'm like, I changed the cover art, and, I'm positive that, not even positive. I'm very confident that more and more people now, because the cover art is better than what it was. I know now more and more people are gonna find the podcast and they're gonna enjoy the podcast because the content is good. They're gonna find the podcast, discover the podcast, and we're gonna build more and more, and we're gonna get bigger, and we're gonna get better, and this thing is gonna take off, you know. So that's how I look at it, and this is gonna be a story that I use. So I just want you to have the same. I just don't want you to think that you can't use whatever story you have for, you know, the story of your life. I just don't want you to think that it's for waste, you know. No, it's not for waste. People like to hear stories. People like to hear about your struggles. People like to hear, you know, because people love to talk about how they're in the struggle, you know. Well, everybody has some kind of struggle in their life. Don't get me wrong, you know. So I'm not comparing, but, you know, I told you, I listened to this podcast, How I Built This, you know, every Monday morning at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I listen to this podcast, How I Built This, and people talk about how they got their business started, you know. Some people, they like, oh, you know, like one lady, she was talking about how her dad gave her $300,000, and she was like, I ain't kind of struggling. I'm thinking, what? You struggle? Your parents gave you $300,000? Shit, my parents gave me $300,000. I wouldn't be talking about no struggle, but I mean, to everybody, every story is different. Everybody has their own version of a struggle, you know. So yours might be different than mine. So just, you know, but people like to hear those stories, you know. People love Rocky. This is why people love Rocky so much. A guy goes from breaking bones, working at a meat plant, to fighting the heavyweight champion of the world, you know. He met a girl, he fell in love, he got a manager, he went, he fought. People love that story, you know. I mean, it won an Oscar, and Sylvester Stallone's own story was kind of the same mode, you know. Like Rocky took him from a would-be actor to boom, superstardom, you know what I mean? So people love that stuff. So always keep that in mind. Don't ever think, oh, my story is no good or I'm no good, you know. No. You are great. And I know this was a hodgepodge episode, but that's all right. Sometimes we just need to discuss things between me and you. All right? That being said, that's it for today. This is the start of a new beginning of our new podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody for listening to the first 126 episodes of the world famous Universal Love Affiliate Party Podcast. Pour out a little drink for the Affiliate Party Podcast. It's over. It's done with. We have moved on. Now we are online marketing moves. So with that being said, tomorrow we'll get started with a full-fledged new episode. Better than ever. We're still working on our first guest. She's coming around the corner, okay? But anyway, my name is Tony Rizzano. This is Marketing Moves, and we will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, everybody, some things don't change. Peace.